today's world of everything becoming a hybrid or an EV, it's harder and harder to find a naturally aspirated V8 sports car. And while the term sports car doesn't really perfectly fit either of these cars, they do share a few things in common. Both of these cars have a 5-liter V8 without the aid of turbos. Both of these cars have a 10-speed automatic gearbox and both are rear-wheel drive. So how about a race?
So it was just 4th of July, which means the American goes first. And thank you to Boucher Hyundai for hooking this car up today. Now, this is not the first Mustang that you'll have seen. This generation's been around since 2015 and it's gotten the facelift in 2018. So it's not like this thing is brand new, but I'll stick to the highlights here. Basically, what you need to know, under the hood, Coyote motor. 5-liter naturally aspirated cross-plane crank V8. This motor is good for 460 horsepower, 420 pound-feet of torque. More important than that is the transmission. Here we have the 10-speed automatic gearbox, which is a good thing, people. Oh, Matt, you're such a not enthusiast. You just don't even want a manual gearbox. Save the manuals. No, because the Getrag thing in the manual transmission option for this Mustang, until you get up to the GT500, is a mess. You lose like 60 horsepower through that gearbox. So I'm happy to have the 10-speed automatic here. And then from there, your power goes to your rear wheels through a trac-Lok clutch pack limited slip rear differential. And it does a good job. This is another thing that the Mustang was really lacking in prior generations. It didn't have independent rear suspension, and Ford made that fix with this generation in 2015. Independent rear suspension. Now this isn't the Performance Pack 2. If you want like the most track spec Mustang out there, well, aside in GT trim anyway, get yourself the Performance Pack 2. You get tires, magnetorheological dampers, so magnetic dampers. They're fantastic, bigger brakes, all that sort of thing. But this here, for the sake of what it is, it's pretty nice. And what this thing is something we haven't really touched on just yet, and that's a convertible. And for the simple fact is, with that being the case, you're really buying this thing not for track purposes. I mean, if you wanted to take this thing to a track, you'd have to fit a roll cage in the back, and I don't think many people are doing that with their Mustangs. So the fact remains, you're buying this for the experience. You're buying this for the simple fact that you can have the top down, you can have the wind in your hair, you can have that open top experience while also being shouted at by the incredible Coyote motor and that quad upgraded exhaust. And that's exactly what we talk about when we talk about the LC. It's a GT car, it's softer, it's not a track car, and it's not pretending to be that. It's about the experience, and that's exactly what's happening here. So let's talk about the experience. Well, it's nice. I mean, you don't have the sophistication of the magnetic dampers, but you have a really supple ride. It handles and soaks up bumps really well. It's stiff enough in a corner. You do get some roll, but that's to be expected because you're not gonna push this thing to 10/10ths. You're gonna enjoy this thing for what it is, and it's just a laid back, open top cruiser with an incredible exhaust note. And the last thing I'll mention in terms of the experience is it's still a Ford, but it's a nice Ford. The leather is pretty good. There's not a lot of really scratchy black plastic anywhere, but we'll get to a lot of that when we talk about the interior. But for now, let's see how Paolo's doing in his beige boomer mobile.
To start, I think it's important to level set and understand what the LC500 is. And it's a grand touring car. It's not a sports car, although it does have sporty tendencies. Yes, it has the attributes of a true sports car, a mean, powerful V8 making 471 horsepower that can rocket the LC to 60 in 4.6 seconds. But Lexus didn't prioritize speed and performance over comfort and amenities. This truly is your grandfather's cruiser. The Mustang is for the immature, the individuals that think it's all about power figures and burnouts. Matt literally tried to do a burnout in it. This is for the more refined, the elegant. The steering response is snappy, and this massive front end does a nice job of turning into the corners with an eagerness that honestly makes you forget that it weighs over 4,450 pounds. Unfortunately, this does not have the rear-wheel drive steering that the coupe does, but you don't really need that. Again, it's a cruiser. The ride quality is a bit stiff, and potholes are this car's worst nightmare. I honestly think that they could have softened it up a little bit. Lexus fit their 10-speed gearbox in this automatic, and it works quite well. There are certain times at certain speeds and RPMs that it just feels like an absolute bullet when I put my foot down, and then there's other times where it honestly feels like it has 280 horsepower. It feels as though sometimes that it doesn't drop into the lowest gear possible to actually rocket you. Outside of that, the downshifts happen quickly, and they're accompanied by a throttle blip that helps eliminate driveline jolts from upsetting the rear end. An added benefit of those is it's got a really nice sound as well. Now, trying to slow down this 2-ton Lexus takes about 168 feet at 70 miles per hour. And that is a figure that can compete with family sedans, not necessarily sports cars. As you guys know, I'm kind of an audio snob, so this Marks-Levingston system is absolutely phenomenal. It's got 918 watts, it's got like 13 speakers in this thing. It sounds really, really good. Last little thing I'll say, and it's honestly just a personal gripe, but when I'm in Sports Plus mode, and I drive aggressive, it seems to hold a gear longer and downshift in higher RPMs, which is great. But when I'm in Sports Plus mode, I want it to do that all the time, not only when I'm driving aggressive. So to wrap it up, surely some enthusiasts will definitely want something sportier, something lighter, something quicker. But if you bought this car, I don't think anyone would question your decision. Beauty needs no explanation. Now let's meet up with Matt and talk looks.
All right. Drop top V8s.
They're here, they're loud.
They're here, they're loud, and I'm gonna talk about mine.
Okay.
Because this is the American car. It was just 4th of July. I mentioned that in the behind the wheel, but here we go. So this is basically, okay, so here's how it goes though. That looks special. Just standing still, it looks special. This doesn't look special.
Right.
And it's not the sense that like it doesn't look good, but it's just like there's 4-banger ones out there. There's, you know, old V6s that are out there. There's V8s. There's the, you know, the Mach 1 now. Like there's so many variants of these that you see them all the time. No uniqueness. But objectively, it does still look like a good car. It's iconic. People recognize it. It is a Mustang.
Right.
I, to be honest, think that the 2015 generation, when they, well, this is part of that generation, but this is facelift. That's the best looking Mustang that I've seen aside from like the 60s ones. They did make the headlights and the eyes a little bit droopy in 2018, so that carries over to this one, which I don't love, but still it looks fine. You've got your chin splitter down there. You've got fake venting on the hood, which you have on the 4-cylinder ones. 19-inch silver wheels. Okay, it looks good. The white, the pearl, it's fine. Really, there's not a whole lot differentiating this from a 4-banger Mustang, aside from
the badge,
the 5.0 badge on the side. Down the side, it's a long trip over a mildly flared rear hip, and then you've got this little lip spoiler on the back trunk, black deck lid with the GT badge on the back, and that's really the only way that you can tell it's GT other than that 5.0 badge. And then the most important thing, because we talked about the experience and how these cars are about the experience, and you get the convertible for the experience, quad tips. That means you've got the upgraded exhaust, it's loud, it's brutish, it's that low American bellow, that old familiar V8.
I like the way it sounds.
And that's it.
And the rim color is not bad, it's actually pretty nice.
It's a good spec. I mean, it's white on the outside, which keeps it cool. Black interior for a convertible in sun, I don't know, that's a questionable option, but we've got cooled seats, so we'll get to that.
The way this is packaged up is just, compared to the Lexus, it's...
I was hoping you wouldn't notice this.
This giant hole right here? Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah,
I see that.
Also, the wing mirrors are like about that big.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit odd, but it's like that in every Mustang, so I don't know. I mean, I can still see fine. It's better than a Camaro, so hey, that's a win. But let's hear about this one. I'm excited to hear about this one.
Yeah, so the LC, I mean, the proportions on this thing are just insane. What it really reminds me of is a concept car of like, you know, 2015 of these giant spoke rims, these wide proportions, this long hood, long doors. I mean, and that's kind of like what it is. I mean,
Yeah, it's very coupey. It's very, you know, GT. It's interesting how much the hood slants down on this one rather than the Mustang. I kind of like that. It's so much easier to see out the front of it.
Right.
It's less intimidating to be behind the wheel. But yeah, big wheels. I like the wheels.
Yeah, 21-inch wheels. I'm a huge fan of the door handles as well. I feel like they kind of stole this from Tesla, but it's unique.
Yeah.
It's simple. I mean, they went
Nissan
for
GTR has it too.
They went for a simplistic design with it, and I think they did a really good job. I'm also a big fan of the headlights and the taillights.
Yeah.
I like your exhaust a bit more since it's actually a true four quad.
Tips and they're real. You do have quad tips. It's just they're hidden underneath the fake bumper.
I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I think the thing that strikes me, first of all, is just like, this looks expensive.
Yeah,
like this looks exclusive. You don't see many of them on the road.
Unique.
Unlike that thing, and it looks special. And I think that's what really comes.
This color combination as well is really pretty. Yeah, you got strawberry jam on the outside and your crunchy peanut butter on the inside.
And then we've got Wonder Bread right here.
I don't even know what that is. That's a backwards Oreo or something.
Whoa. I mean, you're not wrong. But shall we hop inside? Let's do Mustang first. Okay, so this is the issue with comparing something that's literally half the price to the flagship Lexus. Like, the Lexus does nothing but be special and expensive and premium looking. Because there's absolutely nothing wrong with this Mustang. The spec is good, especially at like the low to mid $50,000 range. Like,
good price point.
Leathers are fine, the seats are really comfy, you have heated and cooled 3-level for both. You've got a fully digital gauge cluster that's customizable. The steering wheel is a little bit too big for my liking, but that's a complaint that I have.
The girth of it?
No, like the rim is just too large. I find myself like hitting my knee with my hand, but that's with every Mustang. The rim is actually kind of thin, kind of similar to the Super that we had. But I mean, other than that, like, you've got the upgraded Ford Sync system, you've got the bigger screen, you've got the toggles down here. Ford loves their toggles. We were just talking about that with the T-Rex, how that has auxiliary buttons, and then the Raptor has the toggle.
Yeah, like this, it's like fighter pilot.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's just cool. Like, you know, you do something like this, it's about the experience, and to be honest, like, it's fine. When you pull on this door handle a little bit to close your door, the door card gives a little bit, but you know, like, it's a Mustang, it's half the price, and by all senses, it's fine. But I will say, because I know it's gonna come up in the Lexus, that I have more backseat room.
No.
Yes.
You have more depth, but you do not have more leg room.
I have, okay, so you can have a bigger butt, and you can have longer thighs in this thing. You can't have anything below the knee, though. You gotta be amputated.
Yeah, amputated right at the kneecap.
Yeah, neither one is good for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, regardless.
You can have friends if you haven't killed them yet. You can have them in back here.
They could sit like across. You know what I mean? You can't really call this a four-seater though.
It's a 2+2.
Yep.
It's a 2+, which is kind of what that is, but it's more of like a 2 plus half a Costco run. Yeah. But shall we talk about that one then?
Yeah, we can go jump in that.
All right, let's do that.
Inside the Lexus, in here it is modern, sleek, sophisticated, artistic. I mean, just look at the details of literally anything. The doors, the door handles, the different levels and materials on the doors. I mean, it is just honestly fantastic in here. This feels absolutely like a $100,000 interior.
Yes, it is.
Without a doubt.
This is, and I'm gonna abuse this word for this video, but it is special. Absolutely. You've got different pattern and graining on the dash. You've got like almost like a synthetic carbon fiber kind of checkerboard weave that like flows with the door. Like, there's no, Lexus didn't need to do that. Yeah. Your cows have been massaged and bathed in their own milk, so they're hydrated and conditioned.
That's a fact in organic milk.
It's just so, it's so good.
It's not all praise though, okay? Because this touchpad, like all Lexus touchpads, is absolutely trash. To turn on the heated seats, the heated steering wheel, and the heated neck vent, which by the way is one of the coolest features of this thing.
The Mustang doesn't have it.
Does not have that.
I wouldn't expect
and I sound really privileged while saying all that.
Your privilege is showing.
It is a chore. It took 45 seconds to do all of that.
That's like the epitome of first world problems.
Yeah, seriously. It took 45 seconds to get my
But I totally get what you mean. I complain about it in all the Lexus videos. Like,
I literally got frustrated.
Yes, and I think it's like something so simple as like HVAC, vents. Fine, you have this strip here, but your heated seat, your heated steering wheel, all of that
give me
stuff
a button for that.
Needs a button.
Yeah, I get.
I don't need to go into this terrible menu structure.
They on the outside interior, simplicity, right? Like
Yes.
I understand they hid the controls for
Sexy.
and why couldn't they have hid the controls for the heated steering wheel and seats, something similar design like this?
I don't know. It would have been very James Bond. It would have been really cool.
Yeah, but okay, again, I mentioned the vents, which I mean is just so cool because it allows you to drive this thing when it's obviously cooler. I mean, that's a really unique feature. Back seat, not a lot of room. I honestly think they should have just made this a two-door, stripped the back seats.
It's a two-door.
I meant, sorry, not a two-door, a two-seater.
Two-seater.
Yeah. Took out the back seats, brought everything up a little bit, and made the trunk bigger. I think that would have been a smarter move because you can hardly fit a banana back there.
I mean, you couldn't fit a child back there. You have ISOFIX points. I can see the button right here for where you would latch.
It could not. There's
couldn't
no
fit.
way
I mean,
it could
like,
fit.
what car seat is fitting there?
Right. Nothing.
No.
There's no way.
Yeah. Also, your child would go deaf.
Throughout this video, I've given the Mustang a hard time, but both of these V8 convertibles are nice cars. Without a shadow of a doubt though, the Lexus is a very, very special car. It's unique, sophisticated, and elegant. It has left an impression on me I won't soon forget.
I think Paolo sums it up really nicely there. The Lexus is, if you can afford it, probably the most special and unique driving experience north of $100,000. Well, I should say, sub $300,000. But if you're a man of the people and you have a limited budget, something that provides a raucous V8 experience, rear-wheel drive fun, and an open-top fun experience, the Mustang is a great alternative. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.